is the picture that you're living in. So describe that for us.
To the T. So I come home, I had my first baby, Gray. I was about 31 years old, and I'd bought my first property in East London, beautiful townhouse, very different from how I grew up. And it had these giant sash windows. It's December 20th because I gave birth on my mother's birthday, of course I would. And I get back home holding little Gray, and, you know, I shed my first tear. And Jens says, isn't it amazing? Like, we have this beautiful little baby. And I said, no. What is amazing is that I drew this exact vision with the Christmas tree and with the mantle and with the sash windows. And I can't tell you, like, I'm not a good drawer.
Yeah.
I drew it exactly as it was. And I didn't even know about, like, 1970s Danish sideboards. That's not how I was raised, funnily enough. That was a Jens purchase. But I just couldn't believe it because it was exactly as I'd envisaged what it would be to, like, have this, like, insane, beautiful family Christmas. And there I was with the baby and the husband and the house and the tree and the window. And I just thought, I can't actually explain this. But it was like one of those moments, and there's probably been a couple in my life where I was like, oh, life is actually magic. Like, it's completely magic. I made that happen.
I love that moment so much because I had a moment like that. I had gone to a friend's house early on in my career, and she was like the richest person I knew, and she had these 6 trees in her yard. I went, oh my God, 6 trees. And one day I was, if I ever get some money and I can buy my own house, I'm going to have 6 trees. And one day I was having coffee in the kitchen, and I looked out and I saw the 6 trees in the kitchen. And when you walk outside, there were hundreds of trees beyond the 6 trees. So I realized I had somehow manifested that for myself. And in that moment where you have drawn the picture as a little girl, and now you're sitting in the picture looking at the mantle that you had drawn that you didn't even know where that came from as a little girl, what did that teach you about dreams and manifestation and being able to bring on a future that you weren't even aware could come?
It really, and I can see it. I remember the feeling so clearly. I was like, you can do anything. And in that moment, because I had a little baby and, you know, my company was my baby at that point as well, you know, and I remember thinking this company won't survive without me there. If I have to take time to spend on this baby, that thing will disappear. And that was the moment everything came together, and I was like, no, you can do all of this. You can have all of this stuff. You just have to work for it.
That's when you realize if you could see it, you can achieve it.
100%. I just knew it. I was like, I'm going to figure out the way to pull these two things together. And you know when you have a baby, you have a little Moses basket. And I was like,